Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another reading vlog. Now, as you can tell by the title of this video, I am going to be doing a 24-hour readathon, and this is actually my first time ever doing one of these, and the only reason that I haven't done one before is one, it doesn't really fit in with my schedule usually, and I have some time off at the minute, and also two, they terrify me because I am a slow reader, so I guess you could call this a realistic 24-hour readathon for a slow reader. Now, I've already decided that I'm going to be doing this by setting a timer because there's stuff that I need to be doing during the day, and obviously if I stop to do something then that's time wasted in my 24 hours. So if I set a timer I can realistically see what I have read during that 24-hour period. Now, I'm not sure what books I'm going to be reading yet, however I do know the first one that I'm going to pick up. Obviously when you see this video you might see the books that I'm going to be reading in the thumbnail anyway, but the first book that I'm going to be picking up is a psychological thriller and it's The Last Word by Taylor Adams. This is actually on my TBR for the month, and it follows this woman who one day gives a really bad 1-star review to a horror author's book, and he doesn't take too kindly to it, and so he starts an argument with her online, which then turns into him stalking her, and she lives in a really remote location, so all of these crazy things start happening, and obviously it's like spooky. I think that this sounds like a really interesting concept because we have all seen authors behaving badly. I still remember the drama back in the day with Kira Cass, if anyone remembers that, and I feel like people don't really know about that now, but there's been so many instances of authors retaliating on sites like Goodreads, and also there's one on TikTok at the minute who's retaliated against a review. So I don't really feel like this book is unrealistic in any way at all because you never know who is out there. I will probably give you an update when I'm 3 hours into my little 24-hour reading vlog. So I'm excited to see how much I get read. I'm terrified still, but I'm excited to see how much I read. So I am officially 3 hours into this reading vlog, and I was meant to update yesterday and I literally did sit down to film, and then when I was filming the battery icon kept flashing, so I put another battery in and I hadn't charged my batteries, any of them, and I decided instead that I was going to do my nails for the afternoon because I don't know if you guys noticed but I had 2 that were missing, and I was going to leave them for later on in the week because not tomorrow but the Monday after I'm seeing Sabrina Carpenter, and so I was trying to hold out so that I could have like really fresh nails for their concert, but I had to get rid of them, and I've made them shorter, but they're so cute. Like, I've done like little pearl hearts. I'm super proud because I literally cannot draw hearts to save my life, and it was really finicky because I had to leave the middle bit clear, but it's like pearls and they're so cute and I love them, and I have to say this is probably my favourite set I've ever done. So anyway, that happened. I'm 3 hours in and I am officially 47% of the way through The Last Word, and I have to say I've been thoroughly enjoying my time with this book. I'm finding it really hard to put down, and it's such a fast-paced read. It's actually kind of terrifying. It's making me not want to review a book ever again or give like a star rating. So what I've learned so far is we are following this woman named Emma, and I thought she lived in this beach house. It's not actually her beach house. She is house sitting for this woman named Jules, and Jules has a son, and I don't know like what the history there is, but her son can't look after it or whatever. That's what it sounds like, and so Emma is looking after this beach house during the off season. One of the weird things is that Emma plays hangman with the only neighbour that she has that is living in another house, and they like play it via whiteboards, and then they like look through telescopes to play hangman, and then he plays jokes on her. And one of the things that really freaked me out was there was a scene where they were playing hangman and then they decided to have like a chat, and then he goes, "There's someone behind you," and I was freaking out. I was like, oh my god, please double check over your shoulder, because like creepy stuff had already started happening at this point, which, let me just say, this book does not even give you any backstory. It just goes straight into it. It's like, here you go, here's the creepiness, the fun is about to begin, enjoy your ride. Is it a little bit far-fetched? Yes. But is it entertaining? Absolutely. I'm really enjoying Emma as a character. I think she's really witty, and I'm just gonna say trigger warnings for depressive thoughts because She is actually at this beach house for a reason, and the reason is pretty dark, but I won't say any more than that. And the thing about this book, getting straight into it, is like at the beginning is when she reviews the book and gives it the 1 star, and then she gets into the argument with the author. I have a funny feeling I know who the author is. It feels like it's going in a very obvious direction, and I feel like the Easter eggs have already been sprinkled, and I don't know if it's meant to be obvious, but I feel like I know who it is, and I don't think it's the neighbour. But I'm really hoping that maybe I could finish this tonight. I basically didn't get any sleep last night, so I feel like absolute trash, which is why I decided to put makeup on today, because there was a house further along somewhere who had a party and they had a live band. Oh my god, it was so loud. The band packed in at around about nearly midnight, and then by then I couldn't get to sleep, so I just ended up scrolling endlessly on my phone. And then because I was scrolling endlessly on my phone, there was a TikTok of a girl who put on this really gorgeous dress, and I was like, where is that dress from? I need to know. And then I ended up on Reformation. They're really expensive, and I don't know if it's worth it. There's like a top on there, and I'm like, is it worth it though? I don't know. But then I saw this dress and it was cheaper, and I was like, but it's not from Reformation, it was from somewhere else, and I may have ordered it because I was tired and delirious and I knew I needed the dress. I've just gone off on a tangent, but one of the other things I'd say about this book is it's very, I mean, it's meant to be a psychological thriller, which it is. There's some like very like creepy moments. There are some like very horror-esque moments as well. Like it feels like a slasher film. I feel like if you enjoy slasher films, you might enjoy this book. Anyway, it's very promising. I'm really very much enjoying it. That was my update. I will give you guys another update probably when I finish this book, and hopefully I still have enough hours on the clock. I reckon I will, but like I at least want to get 2 books finished in this 24-hour period, so we'll see. So I have an update. I officially finished The Last Word by Taylor Adams last night. And when I tell you, I thoroughly enjoyed myself with that book. It was so good. I ended up giving it a 4 star. It was such a wild ride. Like every time I thought it was over, it wasn't over. And there was a part of the book where it really threw me through a loop, because I was like, oh my god, is that how it ends? Like I was in total shock, and then I had to skip to the next page because I was like, no, that can't be how it ends, surely. And it wasn't. It basically tricked me into thinking it was the end, and it wasn't. And luckily I didn't read ahead, so I didn't spoil myself. What I found interesting was this book was told in dual perspectives. So a lot of the time you get Emma's perspective, and then you also get the author's perspective. And it's like he's writing out a new book. And what was really cool was that Emma had an entirely different perspective to what the author did, and the author was incredibly unreliable. But then half the time it was like tricking your brain into thinking like, oh my god, is this actually what's happening, or what is going on? Like, who's right here? Like, whose perspective is the right one? Was it a little bit far-fetched? Absolutely. And I think one of the only things that really threw me off with this book, and that I don't really like in any book, were the kind of like pop culture references. So like Netflix was mentioned and Goodreads was mentioned, and I think although this takes place in the real world, I think when real world things are brought into a book, sometimes it kind of throws me off a little bit, and it kind of takes me out of the book itself. I don't know if that's like a personal thing or if that's really silly to say, but for me that's kind of one of the reasons why I took a star off. The main reason why I took a star off was because I kind of did guess who the culprit was, or like how the twist would go, like the major twist. However, I will say that there are so many twists and turns through this book that will just have you gasping. I just thoroughly enjoyed my time with this. It was so entertaining and I just didn't expect it. So yeah, I gave it 4 stars, absolutely loved it, really didn't expect to. And I officially have 17 hours and 15 minutes left on the clock. So you'll have to excuse the fact that I haven't got the physical book because I've just taken the dust jacket off. But I'm going to move on to my next read, which is Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. This is a dark academia novel. It basically follows this young woman named Alex Stern, and she's been tasked with keeping an eye on the secret societies at Yale College because they believe that there's some weird goings on there to do with kind of, I guess, demons and all like magic and stuff like that. I only know that much about it because that's what I've read on the blurb, and I don't know if I've heard good things about this. I feel like some people really love it and some people were kind of okay with it, but I did already buy the second book a couple of months ago when it came out because I already have the hardcover of this and I wanted the hardcover of that before the paperback comes out. So hopefully I enjoy it. The last Leigh Bardugo book that I read was the Six of Crows duology, which I absolutely loved. It was phenomenal. So hopefully I like this. I feel like dark academia is a genre that I haven't really got into yet. Like, I haven't read a dark academia book that I've loved. In fact, I DNF'd one which was really popular, which was The Secret History. I think that's all I've read in dark academia. I really need to like pick up the pace and read some more, I think, but it's just not that time of year. But I am in the mood for something dark again after the last book that I read, so this is going to be my next read and I will give you guys an update when I have one. I wasn't going to update yet, but I have updated my TikTok, so I feel like I have to update the reading vlog. I have 15 hours and 47 minutes on the clock, which is still quite a long time. I'm really still hoping that I can finish this book and maybe another book, but it's slow going so far. I'm officially on page 46, so I've made the smallest dent in the world. I don't understand anything that is happening right now. I've shut my brain off and I'm just accepting it is what it is. This book jumps straight into the story. There's like no explanation. It's just like, here you go, and then it gives you like little snippets as you're going along, and I haven't understood any of the snippets. I'm just barely grasping them. So from what I've gathered, Alex has been taken on by some random organisation called the, I don't even know how to pronounce it, so we're gonna have to Google quickly. So she's been taken on by an organisation called Leigh, and they deal with overseeing, I believe, 8 of the biggest like societies within Yale College, because there are like over 120 or something like that, but there are like the top 8 that deal with kind of like magical stuff. So she's having to oversee them to make sure that, you know, they're doing everything in accordance to like what they should be doing and not doing anything else. And one of the first things that we see is she has to go into this room and oversee like this weird ritual thing that they're doing, where they've literally got a man on the table and all of his guts and stuff are hanging out. Like, this guy's not dead, they're just like looking at his organs and shit and doing some sort of like reading. And I had to Google the word that came up because I was like, what the fuck? What is this? Okay, so they call it a prognostication. I had to Google it because I was like, what the fuck? Like, from what I've gathered, I think they're gathering kind of like mental illness patients, like the like schizophrenia patients and stuff like that, people that I guess won't be missed or something, or like people won't care about if, you know, they all of a sudden vanish, and then they're like looking at their innards and I don't know, just weird things are happening that I don't understand. We've met this guy named Darlington as well, who was overseeing Alex and what she was doing. So he was basically supposed to be handing the baton to her because he went through the same thing. He was a freshman at Yale, someone took him on and taught him, so now he's teaching Alex. He wasn't meant to be teaching Alex. Alex was not supposed to be doing this. She is basically a nobody from California. She was in hospital for some reason at a murder scene. There was someone dead next to her, that's all we know. There's a lot happening. I'm failing to understand what the prognostication was. Like, what was that? They were calling out stock market things, and what they were discovering there or whatever had something to do with the stock market. And then there were ghosts. Oh, Alex Stern can see ghosts, which is pretty much why she is in the position that she's in, because no one else can do that unless they take like some weird like tonic thing, and even if they take that, then they might not be able to see ghosts, or they might die or whatever. A lot is happening. There are a lot of places to remember in this book as well. There's like a map, which I didn't realise there was a map, and then when I opened it I was like, oh my god, this is beautiful. Like, look at that. I'm not familiar with Yale, but I mean I vaguely have seen it in pictures and stuff, especially their library, because there's like a lot of rumours about their library, which was mentioned. But yeah, there's just a lot of places to remember, and it's info dumpy, but for me, I feel like it's not info dumping enough. Like, I need more to grasp what's happening, and I feel really dumb right now. I feel stupid. Also, is this like a thing with dark academia where it will just throw in Latin from time to time just to be really pretentious? Are dark academia novels just really pretentious? Is that the appeal? I don't because I read The Secret History by Donna Tartt. Well, I DNF'd it. I got like, I think maybe halfway through, a quarter of the way through. I got a lot of the way through and then I DNF'd it because I was like, I can't deal with this shit anymore. Like, I'm not enjoying it. But like, it was really pretentious and I'm feeling like this is also slightly pretentious. There's enough there to keep me going. Like, I'm interested, I'm intrigued, but I just wish I understood already. Also, I went on TikTok because I wanted to see if anyone felt the same way as me, and then there was a TikTok, and I haven't spoiled it for myself, but someone said something about a bathroom scene and about how shocking it is, and I can't wait for that. That's another thing that keeps confusing me because they all mention each other by different names. So like, they won't call each other by their first names. Like, Darlington is a mixture of like Daniel and his last name, but she'll keep calling him Darlington, but then someone else will call him Daniel. There's just too many names, there's too many places, and there's too much going on for me to understand any of what's going on right now. So that's where I am in the book. I'm really hoping that I grasp what's going on. I just need there to be less characters at the minute because it's too much. It's too much for my little brain to handle. Anyway, that's my really minuscule update because I really haven't read that much into this book yet. But hopefully when I have another update, I will understand, hopefully a little bit more. Reasons why Claire wouldn't make it into Yale College, 101. So this is officially going to be my last update for this 24-hour reading vlog. I cannot believe I've actually managed to do it. It's been a bit kind of like chaotic. I've definitely kind of read more some days and then read nothing on other days. I feel like the last couple of days, especially like the last week, I just haven't had a lot of time. Also, as you would have seen, I just put in some clips from my trip to see Sabrina Carpenter. I was meant to take this camera and I was going to vlog in the hotel and kind of like give you reading updates. Completely forgot to bring my camera. I was a little bit gutted, but at the same time I had so much in my backpack already. So you would have just seen clips from that. It was incredible, absolutely loved it. If you ever get a chance to see her live, I would absolutely recommend going to see her because it was so good. I was right at the front. It's like the closest I think I've ever been to a performance in my life. I got VIP for BTS years ago and I still wasn't at the front. Like, we were kind of like in little pens and me and a bunch of other girls were like right at the back because there was like loads of space. But we were still close, but like I've never been at the barrier, so that was like really cool. Such an amazing experience, absolutely loved it. I hope you didn't mind me putting that in there, but like I will never get over that experience. Anyway, now on to my update. So on my way to London, I did actually manage to finish Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo and I ended up giving it 4 stars. I really thoroughly enjoyed it. I actually was really surprised. I definitely enjoyed the last half of the book compared to the first half. I really honestly think it's a confusing book. There's no doubt about it. I think if you're going straight from any of Leigh Bardugo's previous books, you might be very overwhelmed. And as someone who reads like a lot of genres and has read books with a lot of world building, for me personally, I still found this book confusing. It felt as if the world building was a little bit fragmented, like it was very here and there, and it kind of didn't have this linear feel to it, and it just felt like it was all over the place at some points, and it just made it super confusing. I also didn't realise that there's kind of like an index at the end of the book which tells you what all the houses do, like what magic they specialise in, which would have helped me immensely at the time if I'd known it was there. I did really enjoy the timeline because this book is told in 2 perspectives. So you get kind of like the present perspective, which is told from Alex's point of view, and then you also get Last Winter, which is told from Darlington's point of view. I really enjoyed Darlington as a character actually, because although we have learnt a little bit about him, he's still such a mysterious character. and I can't wait to see where the plotline goes from there. I really thoroughly enjoyed it, I really did. I also really loved the atmosphere and the magic system. The magic system is confusing, but once you get used to it and you kind of like work your head around it, if you can, it's really enjoyable. And the atmosphere as well. This is actually the first dark academia book that I've really enjoyed. It obviously is set in Yale College, and even though it's like the height for summer right now and it is boiling, I honestly felt like I was in kind of like autumn winter when I was reading it. Like I just felt the atmosphere and I really liked it. I also really liked Alex because she was kind of this character that you kind of go in knowing nothing about, and you kind of learn about her and you're like, ooh, should I be rooting for her? But then you do end up rooting for her in the end. I really enjoyed kind of learning what she went through and like understanding her more, because at the beginning you're like, yeah, I don't really get it. Like she kind of doesn't seem like the kind of character that you should like, and then you actually really do end up liking her in the end. I also really enjoyed her friendship with Pamela. Oh, when she called her Pammy, oh, broke my little itty bitty heart. I just, that made me so warm and fuzzy, and I just loved seeing the friendship bloom between the two of them, because at first you're kind of like, oh, these are two characters that are not going to get along ever, and then slowly you see it blossom, and I just really enjoyed seeing that. But yeah, overall really loved it. 4 stars. I honestly thought I was going to give it a 3. Like I really thought that that was going to happen, because at the beginning I was like, oh, this is so confusing, I'm not understanding a single thing that is going on, and I just can't see myself making it through. But once I'd kind of like got past that first like quarter or like first half, it was super enjoyable. So now onto the third book that I started reading, and I believe when I started reading this I had 3 hours on the clock, or just over 3 hours, and that is Delilah Green Doesn't Care by Ashley Herring Blake. So this is a sapphic romance. It follows this woman named, oh, why can't I remember names? This is terrible. I'm literally reading this book now and I can't remember names. So this follows a woman named Delilah, and she basically moved away from this very small town when she, you know, was coming of age, and essentially her father died when she was young, and so she was taken care of by her stepmother and obviously her stepsister. But in this book her stepsister is basically getting married, and Delilah is roped into being the photographer for the wedding, and it's going to be this whole palaver where it lasts a whole 2 weeks, because there's going to be, you know, family meals and trips to vineyards and all of this stuff. Like it's going to be a massive shebang, because her stepsister's mum is like loaded. She has a lot of money, and so Delilah does it because she wants that money. And while she is there, she bumps into Claire Sutherland, who is friends with Astrid, which is Delilah's stepsister, and none of them get along. So when Delilah was growing up, Astrid and her 2 friends, Claire and also, oh, what is the other one's name? Begins with an L, cannot remember for the life of me. They had a little group, and Delilah basically was never in this little group. I think Astrid tried to bring her in, but Delilah just didn't want any of it, because quite often they were very mean to her because she was kind of like the weird kid. But she was going through a lot, you know, she was dealing with the death of her dad, and you know, she's essentially being brought up by people that she hasn't been around for that long, like, and I can imagine that's a very hard thing to deal with. So she felt very alienated when she was growing up, and so she doesn't get along with these girls at all. And then obviously she bumps into Claire. Claire doesn't know who she is, and she starts flirting with Delilah in a bar, and then obviously finds out who she is. And I've started reading it. Now when the clock finished I was 30% in, and I'm still 30% in at the minute. I'm gonna basically end this recording and I'm gonna carry on reading, but so far I'm really enjoying it. It's super quick paced, and I'm really loving kind of like seeing the dynamic between Delilah and kind of like her stepmother, and also like her stepsister and her friends. And it's really interesting to see the 2 perspectives, because I feel like Astrid is trying to have a relationship with her, and I feel like Delilah might be interpreting it in a really kind of negative way. But also I do feel like Astrid can be uptight. But I'm really excited to see kind of like this thing blossom between Delilah and Claire, because honestly This is my first sapphic romance, but so far I'm loving it, and I cannot wait for things to get underway romantically, because I just love every interaction that they've had so far. It's giving me like little giggles and stuff, and I love it. I'm giddy. I love it. So that is the end of this 24-hour reading vlog. In total, I managed to read 2 books, and I got 30% into a 3rd one, and honestly, I'm super proud of that. I didn't think I would get that far. I honestly thought I'd read 1 book and that would be it, or I'd read 1 book and I'd get like halfway through a 2nd book. So I'm super proud. Like, I can't believe that's how much I would read in 24 hours. Bearing in mind I did have to do like the stopwatch method, and obviously it wasn't like a classic 24 hours, so I was kind of like reading some days and not reading others, but I'm super impressed with how much I read, being a slow reader. So if you're a slow reader out there, this is a very realistic 24-hour reading vlog. Anyway, that is the end of the vlog. Please leave me a comment below letting me know what you thought of any of the books that I read in this reading vlog. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more content from me. And until the next video, I will see you then. So bye guys.